But how do you morally justify it? So
I don't need to morally justify it.
Of course, if there's a victim involved, you do.
Why do you claim that I need to morally justify it?
Because there's a victim involved. In the same way, if I was to harm another human.
Why is it wrong for someone to be a victim?
Well, if you were the victim, what would you say?
There are foundations, philosophical foundations, way below what we're talking about. Why is it wrong to transgress a conscious or a sentient being?
Because that's what defines self-awareness in life. Why is
it wrong to transgress self-awareness?
But we can go. You can go. Keep going further and further. We could go to plants.
The foundation of your belief. I've said that over and over
again. But that's the foundation of our belief. The consciousness is the foundation of the belief. You want to take it to plants. So let's define plant life. Then do you want to go down to bacteria and atoms? Where do you draw the line?
Why is it wrong to transgress consciousness or sentience?
Because the experience of pain in life and the desire to live the life.
You're just redefining sentience and consciousness.
Yes, because that's the baseline.
Why is it wrong to transgress that?
That's
we're not arguing.
That's the baseline.
We're not in confusion about our terms.
Okay, but then you know.
You're talking about our experience, our awareness, our consciousness, our sentience. I'm asking, why is it wrong to transgress that?
And I've explained that because these beings, these plants, don't have an experience of life. They don't feel pain. They're alive, but they're not conscious. They react to stimuli in the environment. Because that's the answer to the question. You asked the question, I answered the question. You asked the question again, I answered the question.
Why is it wrong to cause them pain just because they feel it? Why? What's wrong about that?
Well,
it makes you feel bad.
No, well, of course it makes us feel bad because we can empathize,
that's
right?
The foundation of your belief. It makes you feel bad.
And why is that wrong?
If it doesn't make me feel bad, why would it be wrong for me to do it?
So if it doesn't make me feel bad to harm you, is that therefore moral and fine?
That's another...
No, it's the same thing. It's the same. Okay, I'll let you.
That's another question.
Okay.
And my belief on that, are you asking me my personal belief why it's wrong to kill a human? Because I think humans are different than animals.
In what sense?
I think animals are if I'm not a fundamentalist religious type person. I don't subscribe to a certain religion.
No,
but I believe that there's more than this life.
Yeah.
I believe that the human life has a soul and immortality. I do not believe animals have that. I believe animals are like biological machines, and I don't believe humans are like that.
But let's say for sake of argument that's true. What we can agree on is right now in this existence, they're alive like we're alive, and
you're going back to the argument that they're experiencing pain right now.
But no, it's not about pain. It's not about pain. It's about the fact that it doesn't matter if our souls go on to the afterlife or whatever realm of consciousness there is that exists beyond us, and animals don't. They still have consciousness today on this life. So in that sense, they're alike to us. So
we have never been in disagreement that animals have consciousness.
Exactly.
You keep describing animals and telling me why and how they have consciousness.
Your stance
my question is, why does it matter? Why is it wrong to transgress that?
Your stance then was that our consciousness is immortal. That's what yours.
What do you believe? This is truly at the core of this. This is a question about the beliefs of metaphysics on God.
No. For you it is, but it's not for us. But for you it is.
I'm saying philosophically. I'm arguing philosophically.
Right.
The issue that we're debating here is not actually about animals. It's about God. It's you have a different belief on God or higher power or whatever. I don't even like to use that word because it's got so much things attached to it.
Yeah.
The original causation, the prime mover, the meaning of life.
Okay.
And without a belief that's described and defined about what's going to happen to us when we die, we have to focus on things that how our feelings affect this life.
But it's not even about...
what I would ask you, what do you believe about the human life and the purpose of us being here?
I don't believe that we have a purpose, right?
So you think that's the difference. We found the difference here.
Okay.
I think that animals are biological machines and humans are biological machines with a soul in them.
So hang on.
Let me finish my statement.
Okay.
You seem to be saying that there's no difference in animals. I'm saying animals are here and humans are up here.
Right.
You're saying humans are down here with animals. There's no special sentience.
Right.
There's no special holy or like sacred soul within the human unless it's the same thing as an animal. You make a distinction between animals and plants.
Yeah.
Animals don't have feeling, they're not sentient.
Yeah.
And then animals are different, they have sentience. I'm saying that there's another rung of evolution and that humans have something that animals
But the
don't.
difference between your claim and my claim is science and fact, right? And the fact that animals have consciousness. What you're doing is you're basing your own personal beliefs on the fact that you believe that you have a soul that makes you more important than the rest of the others.
It isn't really a scientific term.
Apart from it's defined within the science.
Term. That's a statement of belief.
No, it's not. It's not a statement of belief. It's a fact, right? We're sentient. You and I sentient. The dogs that walk past us are sentient. The cows that we eat are sentient.
Define sentient.
But we did this, and you were having a go at me for only defining sentience, and you said that wasn't answering your question. I was only defining it.
Define
So
sentient.
sentience is self-awareness inherently.
Tell me how you know that a dog has sentience.
There's been tests done that show that they're self-aware.
So
It's a science.
is your argument that somebody else says so?
No. My argument is peer reviewed.
Understand what they're saying. Tell me why you.
It's peer reviewed. It's peer reviewed science.
That's the argument to authority. Somebody else said so.
No.
You're agreeing with them.
No. I'm not answering to authority.
The way science works,
Yeah.
the study is written. You read the study and you understand what the study says. So
Right.
you can come to your own conclusions about
Exactly.
the study. So there's no need to say somebody else said so.
I'm not saying someone else said so.
Science says, or this author says.
But our whole existence is based on that.
If you understand the scientific study,
Yes.
then you explain it to me. You don't just cite the study.
Okay, they have self-awareness, they react to pain. You kick a dog, they react to that because they're self-aware, they have nerves, they feel that. That shows self-awareness, they escape danger, they have a value of life that means they pleasure happiness over sadness.
Let's cut it a little bit further.
Okay.
Let's say the issue of a dog reacting to pain.
Yeah.
A dog gets kicked.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm saying that the body is reacting to an injury.
So how,
You can't have pain
Okay.
is a conscious experience.
yes, it is, yes.
Can you tell me how you know that the dog's body is not just reacting to pain to preserve itself versus actually being aware of pain?
So what about...
You know that there's one thing that humans and animals, difference between how humans and animals can experience pain.
Sure.
You cannot threaten an animal with pain tomorrow.
No, they live in the present.
You can threaten a human with pain tomorrow.
Apart from animals that you torture into...
to argue that they are not aware, or not at least as aware in the same way that we are of pain.
But what?
You can threaten a dog. A horrible person can kick a dog right now, and it will react in the moment. But you cannot threaten a dog with pain tomorrow.
But that's not actually true. No, we absolutely can. Let's look at animals in zoos. Let's look at bears that walk on tightropes. The reason they do that is because they're subjected to pain and psychological torment, like denial of food. They learn to fear us. Dogs have social anxiety. They can have depression, and that shows.
Are you arguing that I could, in the same level, threaten a human in the way that I could threaten an animal?
Honestly, I don't know if it's the same level, but what I can tell you is that they have an acknowledgement of fear, and they can learn to be wary of people. They can learn to be scared of people. They can have social anxiety, panic attacks like we can as well, and that comes from fear and torment.
Let me define it further then. It's really not fair for me to have to argue a whole bunch of people. I'm a single, or I'm a finite person. How about without actually inflicting pain on a person, I can speak threats of pain, and I can scare them.
But if I shouted at that dog now, the dog would cower.
You're shouting at them.
But that's the same threats.
If I spoke threats calmly to the dog, watch this. I'll give an example.
Yeah, no, I understand why.
Facetious example. I love dogs.
You don't need to do this. You don't need to do this.
So watch this. Hey, puppy.
You don't need to do this, man.
I want to kill you. I want to kill you. I'm going to kill you so much. I'm going to kill you.
But that's no.
So if I were to do that to a human,
but
the human would be understandably.
But what you're doing now, you're taking this off on a tangent, and no, I'm not saying that their experience of life is this. You're being incredibly pedantic. You're saying because dogs don't react when we speak to them in the same way that if you said that to me now, that's irrelevant to their worth of life. That doesn't provide you justification to harm
the situation
them. But it doesn't.
Let me explain what I just did here. Let me explain. So I said, can we threaten a dog with pain tomorrow? And you said yes. Because you can shout at them when they get scared.
Or we can physically abuse them.
But I say that humans have a higher level of experience of pain, because I cannot shout at you, but I could say things very calmly to you that would scare the hell out of you, but it would not scare an animal.
But that's another. If I didn't know, if I spoke Chinese and you spoke English at me, I wouldn't know. So tone is important. They speak a different language. Great point. They speak a different language to us.
Or if it's a child. The baby.
That's what you're saying.
But look, we can.
So are you denying that you can threaten a human in the future more than you can threaten an animal in the future?
I'm not
placing that a question.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily denying that. I'm not necessarily denying that. But I don't see that as being.
You're avoiding the question.
No, I'm saying.
What's your opinion on it? Give me your opinion.
I'm saying that in the way that you've described, in the very facetious way that you've described, you're right. But I don't know what that proves, because that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that the life of an animal is less than ours, or
what I'm trying to prove with that is to say that animals and humans are different.
We are different.
To call us all sentient.
But you and I are
very
different.
Easy. But if, for lack of a better word, maybe there's valuations of sentience, and I would say that a human is far more sentient than a dog.
Now, I agree. There's different levels of sentience. There's different levels of self-awareness. There's different levels of pain thresholds. Even within humans, there's different levels of sentience and pain thresholds, right?
But
that doesn't define worth of life.
Was an attempt to show that there's a difference between the sentience of the animals and dogs.
No, yeah.
That's really not my argument. Because I don't think it's wrong to transgress sentience.
I know you don't.
I think the reason why you and I think it's wrong to hit somebody is just because we come from a Western worldview where Christianity is ingrained, and those were Christian values. The Vikings didn't think that was wrong. Hindus don't necessarily think that's wrong because they believe that we're going to leave this life and re-enter it again. If we were playing a video game, you die and you pop back into the video game. The Christian worldview is where that came from.
Right.
And because they believe that there's one life.
Yes.
So it's horrible what you do to to a sentient thing in this one life. I think that basis is simply the Christian worldviews lingering on our.
Are you advocating for a world without any morality? Is that what you're at? Are you saying that because different cultures do different things, that therefore makes everything acceptable?
We're getting deeper and deeper here.
We can keep going. Yeah.
I believe that morality is a meaningless word outside of a sentient God.
I mean, morality without religion is subjective.
I believe,
because it's not defined.
That's the whole point here. You're trying to convince me that it's wrong to kill animals and hurt them.
Yes.
And I'm saying it's not. I think that's because you. I'm making assumptions here. I will admit. I think it's because you don't believe in God. You don't believe in an afterlife.
I don't. I don't know.
So
I'm spiritually agnostic.
Okay, agnostic. So what I said is true. Then you don't believe in one.
I don't believe in a Christian God or a deity.
Like a firm belief in something.
Yes.
And I say that morality has no meaning outside of the belief in a God. So without a belief in a God, all we have is it's a trigger word. Everybody's going to hate it, but hedonism. What basically means is the pursuit of pleasure.
Yes.
And so without God, all we have to go off is the highest amount of pleasure.
Right.
So when we see an animal hurting, it's an issue of pleasure. That animal is having pleasure taken away from it and being sunken down on the scale of level.
Right.
I think that this has, and if you look deeply into the roots of veganism, it is a rejection of the Christian worldview. I'm not a Christian. I'm not arguing for that. I'm talking philosophically of minds, worldviews that have grown. But veganism often goes hand in hand with goddess worship. And goddess worship is kind of Mother Nature, not a sentient God, but worshiping the earth.
Gaia, right?
Yes. And I believe that this whole event here is partially a bunch of people that are just along for the ride, and they're just here because it's something they can be involved in.
Yeah.
And then there are other people here that actually have beliefs that they're professing, and just like any belief system, there's going to be followers and there's going to be actual adherence to the faith.
Absolutely.
I think that what is actually the issue here is the lack of belief in a God, the lack of belief in meaning beyond this life.
But I don't understand why, if we believed in a God, that would somehow justify violence. Surely the opposite should be true. Why is my lack of belief?
I don't understand why the belief in God would justify violence either.
Because
why are you making that claim?
Well, I guess because traditionally Abrahamic religions, or indeed most religions, preach equality, tolerance, peace, and non-violence. I mean, that's what all the prophets preached, is it not? Like, so are you're not Christian? Are you agnostic? Are you theist? Are you atheist? Or where would you place yourself on that spectrum?
I believe that there is. That's an evolving.
It's a difficult
situation.
one. You can't define it.
I believe in meaning, and I believe that if you actually get down to the question of what God is, it's ultimately meaning.
Okay, that's
so I
interesting.
believe that there is meaning. I believe that there's purpose to our existence.
What would you say that your purpose of existence is?
I didn't claim that I had a specific purpose. I was claiming that.
So we as a species.
No.
Okay.
I was claiming the existence of reality has a purpose. I'm not claiming to know what that purpose is.
So you're talking about a universe purpose, a universal thing? That the universe has a purpose. Is that what you mean, or?
I feel like you're trying to trap me in words.
I'm not. I'm just interested.
I feel like you're trying to get me to say, yes, purpose, universal, so dogs have purpose. I don't believe that.
Okay.
I believe that humans are uniquely different than all of the other life forms.
But the only reason you say that is because you feel that you have a soul.
Even if it's just because we're the highest rung on the current ladder of evolutionary production.
Yeah.
I believe that we have come to a, what's the word? We have come to a new emergent property that no other life has on the earth. I think, and I would use, for lack of a better word, a soul. I don't have a positive belief that it's wrong to kill animals. I don't feel anything wrong. Right. I don't, when you guys show those really extreme videos, yeah, that's fucked up, but that's not the only way to kill animals. That's something new that happened in the 20th century. Well, how that was something that's something the world has never seen before.
The process is the same. The kind of approach is the way it's been done for thousands of years.
You're not showing animals just being killed over there.
Oh no,
you're showing animals being torn apart. You're showing them in cages being tortured.
Okay.
You're showing them thrown into like guillotine machines.
But the process of having the throat slit is the same even from thousands of years ago. Even the early traditions of slaughter were always the same.
We show the extreme visceral thing that causes an emotional reaction.
But we show the slitting of throats.
I don't have an emotional reaction when I see an animal get its throat cut. I don't.
So if someone wants to cut the throat of this dog, you'd have no reaction. You'd be like, stand back and say, well, I have a soul, so that's fine.
I'm not going to eat that dog.
But hang on, but it's
kind of like that dog.
Okay, yeah. Well, but the thing is,
I don't like a cow, and I would eat a cow.
Yeah, but it's not about. This is not about you. Like, say, I wanted to do it, and I wanted to cut the throat of the dog. Would you step back and say that's fine?
And that goes back to the absence of morality and the absence of God. If there is no God, why is it wrong to do whatever you want?
So
why is the argument of might is right wrong?
But now you're doing the same thing that you accused me of earlier, not answering my question. I'm asking you the question. If I was to pick the dog up and cut the dog's throat, you would step back and say that's fine. You do as you wish.
I have no reason to do that. I like that dog.
So is that a yes or a no? You'd let me cut the throat of the dog, or you wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't.
Right. And why wouldn't you?
Because I like that dog.
So because you have an emotional attachment to that dog because culture's defined that you should love a dog.
I don't think.
So now you're making.
I never had to get taught to love dogs.
But you're making an appeal to authority because that's all you've been taught to do in society. You don't love cows because you've never spent time with a cow and you've been told to eat them.
I have spent time with cows.
Okay.
Are you making the equivalence between a dog and a cow as far as you could relate to them?
Yeah.
No, you are.
I feel like.
You're saying that you
I don't. I feel like I can relate to a dog much more than I can relate to a cow, and I can relate to a human being on exponentially higher levels than I can relate to a dog.
So it's ego. So because you see a version of yourself. Well, I mean, there's not necessarily anything. We all have ego.
My point goes back
we
to
all
all these
have
moral
ego.
issues that you keep arguing.
Yeah.
There is no morality unless there's a God. I think that the desire for meaning comes from our nature, and that there is meaning, and we have an awareness of meaning. And it's scary to think. Then fear comes after our desire for meaning.
Right. Yeah.
So I think we're on the same.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page there.
But anyway,
I'm not sure how that justifies killing animals, but it's an interesting conversation. How does that justify killing animals?
See, that's something we're different on. I don't think that there needs to be a justification for killing animals. You do.
But do you think there needs to be a justification? So you're based. So here's your position. Humans needs justification. Anyone not human.
If Jehovah's Witnesses knock on your door on Saturday morning, do you feel a obligation to explain to them why that you don't believe in their religion?
I don't, because there's no victim involved in that. If I choose not to believe, the only victim's me, right?
Whatever your reason is.
So it's only me.
You don't feel an obligation to explain them why you don't believe. You just don't believe, and that's fine with you. Same with me in killing animals. I don't think it's wrong. I don't have an emotional reaction for it.
There's a difference, and the difference is the fact if someone says you should subscribe to this religion, I say no. In their eyes, I'm the only one who suffers. But when you say I don't believe, I don't feel anything, it's fine to kill animals. It's not you that suffers. You don't suffer. You're fine. You live your life, but they don't. So that's the difference there.
What I'm trying to say is that is your worldview. I don't have that worldview. I don't think it's wrong for a cow to get killed. I don't think it is.
But what is your justification for that? You just say, I don't think it is, but why don't you think it is?
That's what I'm saying. I don't have to justify it. I don't have a positive belief that it's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm here. If you want to convince me that it's wrong, convince me. I'm asking you questions about why you're preaching this on the street.
Yeah.
You have not convinced me.
It's not. It seems very unlikely that I'm going to, and that, it seems very unlikely that what I'm saying is going to get through to you. But just to clarify, your position is that if someone does something to you or any human, that does need justification. So say someone, if I was to go hurt someone now in the street, beat them up, stab them, that would need justification, or that wouldn't need justification?
So for me, that's two questions.
Okay.
One, emotionally, there is a selfish motivation in me. Definitely, I'm acting selfishly.
Right.
I don't care if it's morally right for you to kill me or not. I'm going to fight you from killing me.
Just like an animal would.
I don't care if I justly got sentenced with a death penalty.
Right.
As far as our society standards go, I am still going to act against that and try to make that not happen.
Of course.
So there is definitely a mechanical selfish interest in me, and I think that's fine. I also think that there's possibly a metaphysical reason that has a tie in with meaning in God, why we should not hurt other humans. But I make a distinction, as I said earlier. I don't believe humans and animals are the same thing.
And this is but we are animals, right? Humans are animals.
We can call it sentience, but when I think of my sentience, I don't think that a dog has that.
I'm not saying that they do, but I don't think that's.
We can look at the bottom layer of it. Maybe the dog has that, and but I think I have far more sentience, if we're going to describe it that way.
Obviously,
I value the sentience of human beings. I wish we had more vocabulary. The English language has like a fraction of the languages, or the Greek and Latin languages had. But I think it's a lack of vocabulary here. I think the sentience of a dog and the sentience of a human, if we're going to call them both sentience, are two vastly different things. And I do not think it's wrong to transgress an animal sentience. I have an emotional, and I tend to lean towards it's a moral reason not to transgress and I do think your extreme examples over there of animals being maimed and tortured and thrown into death machines, that's cruel. But
maybe you don't understand, but what the majority, some of it's not, but a lot of what we show is just standard industry practice stuff that you pay for. It's not.
I think that's manipulative.
Well, do your own research, then, please.
I'm not saying that doesn't happen. The reason why I think it's manipulative, because I don't think that your stance on killing animals and eating them would change if we got rid of that.
Because it can't, because there'll always be violence, and the only way you can kill an animal.
I gave an example earlier. What if we gave animals sedatives and then killed them in their sleep and with no pain?
Okay, so there's two versions. First of all, we won't be able to eat them. We can't, because it would tamper the meat. But the second thing of that,
I don't think that's true.
No, the reason we could inject them, euthanize them.
We're talking about theoretical here, so let's talk about a sedative. So
let's go down that. So the theoretical would say these animals still would like to live their life. They still value their life in some capacity, and because it's unnecessary for us, we still can't justify that.
I understand. I understand your points. Your argument of necessary violence.
Necessary.
I believe that's valid.
Okay.
But you think that it's never okay to cause violence.
When it's not necessary.
I think that it's okay to cause violence to an animal when you're going to eat them.
But it's not necessary, right? Like that's is it necessary?
Would you agree that if I were killing an animal to eat them, or if I were killing an animal not to eat them,
both are wrong?
Those are two different things?
No, because both are necessary.
I'm not asking if they're wrong. I'm asking if those are two different things.
No, they're the same.
Is what's going on in me different? If I kill an animal to eat them versus I just kill an animal to kill them, do you think that's the same thing?
Both done for pleasure. Different types of pleasure.
Do you think that that's the same thing?
I do. Morally and ethically, it's the same thing.
So if I were to go up and this is gonna be super fun to see this on the internet later, and you guys get me into being a psycho. If I were to go up and kill that man right now for no reason, do you think that would be the same if that man pulled out a knife and started stabbing people, and I would kill him to stop him?
No.
Do you think that's the same?
No.
So I think that's the same argument. I think that there's something different happening if a person kills an animal to eat them, and when a person kills an animal just to commit violence.
But that's totally different. Necessity.
That is your argument of necessity.
No. Necessity. The animal that you kill for food isn't harming other animals. If a dog came and started ravaging us, no problem, right? No problem. You acted out of self-defense. It was a necessary act to save others. But the fact is, when you just kill an animal just to eat them, it's the exact same, because it's both for a necessary act.
But I think your idea of necessity is nested in a bigger idea of purpose.
Necessity is, do we need it to live? That's necessity. Is it intrinsic to our survival?
Okay, all right. So is it okay to kill something to keep your survival going?
If it's necessary for your survival, yes.
Why do you value your survival over the thing you're killing?
Because we have an inherent preference to live our life.
Okay.
I agree. It's a selfish, egoic thing.
And I think that idea of necessity is nested in the idea of purpose. You think that the action is valid because it has a purpose of
sustaining your life.
Yeah, sustaining your life.
Okay, yeah.
And so I think that to kill an animal to eat them is one thing, and it is a very, very different thing to kill an animal just to kill them. I also think it's wrong to just mutilate and torture animals to kill them and eat them, compared to doing it humanely.
But do you accept?
You might argue that it can be done humanely.
Right. Okay.
Say that it can.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And even if it can't be done completely humanely, I'm fine with that.
Okay, but so we can go down that argument, but let's not go down that argument. Let's just can we accept that? So the stuff that you've seen you think is wrong, the mutilations you think are cruel, but do you accept that when you buy products from Sizzle Pie or wherever it is, you're paying for something you think is cruel?
I believe there are degrees of responsibility or guilt or culpability. So I 100% think that it would be wrong for me to do those things. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think that it is the same thing for somebody to do that and then they sell it to somebody and they produce it into something and they sell it to somebody and I'm several degrees separated from it.
Right.
I'm not arguing that is okay.
No, I understand.
I'm arguing that is a different thing. And me buying a hamburger at McDonald's is not the same thing as me going and doing what's happening in the video.
Okay.
And I understand that you're going to argue that I would guess that you're going to argue that it somehow is, but I think that the degrees of separation matter. And I would respect you more rather than standing on a street corner preaching. Is to think up and produce ways for people to consume something, to meet people's desires in a better way. If you think that that's wrong, I think that it would be more productive for you to be an entrepreneur and create routes of meat consumption or maybe faux meat consumption.
But that's happening, right? But that's happening. Do you know there's the lab grown meat, there's Impossible Burger, which tastes exactly the same as beef. I don't have the skills to produce something.
I understand. I agree. But I'm not perfect either.
Right.
I'm not perfect. If I were to try to live my life perfectly without transgressing any harm or violence,
impossible.
It's impossible.
I agree. It's impossible.
So that's why it doesn't bother me to go buy a burger from McDonald's.
Okay.
If you were to make a McDonald's alternative, where I don't like McDonald's.
A burger
I
alternative
like that has meat in it.
Right.
If you were to make an alternative to me that was reasonably priced, I don't buy organic vegetables either. I think it's foolish. I'm not going to pay twice as much. I'm not rich.
Yeah.
If I was rich, I'd go pay 10 times for my groceries over to Whole Foods. I don't do that.
Yeah, right. So won't we all, right?
But
so I'm not perfect.
So
for me to feel bad because I purchased a sausage egg muffin at McDonald's and maybe that happened in the process of it is essentially Victorian prudeness. It's the same thing that the Victorians were doing when they were trying to be religiously perfect.
Okay.
They became a bunch of assholes.
Oh, but let's okay. So
I can't do that.
But you're saying there's degrees of separation, right?
Yes.
So let's say I pay this lady here to stab this person. I'm not committing the act, but she's only doing it because I'm paying her to do it. Am I still morally culpable for that gentleman being stabbed?
Yeah, because there are degrees of separation. So you're still pretty close to the act.
But the thing is, so what you do as a consumer is you pay someone to cut the throat of an animal in a slaughterhouse. It's the same degree of separation. I pay her to stab him, or you pay the slaughterhouse worker to stab the pig.
I'm fine with paying directly. I would be fine cutting the throat of a cow myself to eat it.
No, but what you're saying is that you think that this is cruel and you don't agree with these processes, but you pay for it to happen. So you're living in a state of hypocrisy where you're preaching this is wrong, but then actually actively participating in it.
No. You talked about you don't believe in degrees of separation.
You said
there are many different things that happen between me eating a sausage muffin and me.
The whole thing is consumer driven. If you remove the consumer, none of the actions beforehand will exist. So the chicks being thrown into the macerator, which you said was an act of cruelty, happens because you buy those eggs.
You're an American citizen, right?
I'm British citizen, but similar thing, but yeah.
All right, you're a British citizen. You pay taxes in Britain?
Yes, yeah.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
You realize that those taxes are fuel the war machine and kill people in third world countries?
But I can't not pay them.
Are you culpable? No, you cannot pay them.
And I go to jail.
That's a choice you can make.
Right, exactly. So
you can do that. You're choosing a comfortable lifestyle rather than going to jail. You are choosing to pay your taxes.
But no, because I have to. I'm necessity.
On your own argument of if there's really no degrees of separation.
Okay. But my taxes.
If I'm culpable for throwing a chicken into the grinder because I ate a Egg McMuffin, you are culpable for third world deaths because you pay your taxes.
But I'm also culpable for free healthcare in Britain and the education system and benefits for disabled people and the mentally ill. I'm also responsible for that from my taxes.
We have to choose our battles.
Exactly, we're not perfect.
I don't think
exactly. But
stopping buying Egg McMuffins is
I've never proclaimed to be perfect, but you said that throwing chicks into macerators is wrong, but then you also buy products where chicks are thrown into macerators. So you can't say this is wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway.
So, also, I don't know, and this is just a side note, it's not going to change my mind either way. I don't know that the fast food that I eat has been produced that way.
I'm not, okay, just look into it yourself.
There are businesses that do it more humanely.
All eggs, organic, free range, cage free, barn, whatever system it is, the same thing happens. All the male chicks are thrown to these macerators because they're useless to the industry and they're not suitable to be grown into the big meat chickens. That happens on any system of farming, of egg farming.
I've seen the egg chickens. I've seen the videos of it. It doesn't bother me.
But it's not where it bothers you. You did say that you thought it was cruel to throw chickens into a meat grinder.
Yeah, those are two different things. Throwing a chicken into a meat grinder, that's messed up.
That's what happens.
I don't think that needs to happen for a chicken. The chicken that's kept in the cage producing eggs all day, I don't think that needs to be thrown into a meat grinder.
Well, then you have to find a way of producing eggs which own. I have to find a way to produce faux meats.
Just like you don't have to choose to go to jail to keep from your taxes from you've made that choice. That's where your personal battle. You've not chosen to fight that battle.
Yeah.
This does not convict me enough to where I'm going to stop eating delicious food.
Okay.
I feel like I understand your point a little bit more. I still don't agree with it. I don't. I think that I think the fundamental difference, as I said earlier, is that you don't believe in God.
Right.
I do.
Right.
And so you're seeking to live a life to maximize pleasure for yourself and those around. Ultimately, you're seeking a life to maximize pleasure for yourself, because when you see animals getting hurt, it takes away your pleasure.
No, I know. But right now in slaughterhouses and farms, I ain't seeing that. Like, I can literally close my eyes and never see this footage again, and my life would be just the same. It doesn't take away from my pleasure knowing that. The only reason you eat animals is for pleasure. It makes you feel good. Right.
I do.
So don't tell me.
It also gives me health protein.
Well, so you can get protein from plants. It also gives you cholesterol and saturated fat and antibiotics and hormones and all this stuff that kills you. Redundant to the conversation. The point is, you do these things for pleasure. I don't stand on a street corner and watch graphic footage of animals being killed for pleasure. And I don't have conversations with you for pleasure, because this isn't, you're going to go home and not change.
On the street corner acting as though your actions are morally based. I'm doing something moral and you should do this moral thing too. That's the difference. I am not preaching. I came up and asked questions with you.
Right.
And we got in an intellectual debate.
Yeah,
I wanted to find out if there was some.
And I think that's a good
grounding
thing.
To your.
No, and I'm not against you doing that.
I think the grounding. I believe in God. I don't have a great description of what that is, and you don't believe in God. So these are my assumptions and my conclusions.
Right.
I think that your purpose in life is the maximizing of pleasure.
No, I don't. No, I believe it's the opposite. Look, I feel like this. I'm going to say the same thing about you, and you'll probably repeat the same thing to me. It's not. I don't get pleasure from doing these things, but you yourself, as you have openly admitted, you get hedonistic pleasure and self-satisfaction and gratitude or self-gratification from consuming cow flesh or chicken flesh, or whatever it is.
That is a very side note in my life. That has nothing to do with my purpose.
But you do it 3 times a day. You know what I'm saying? You do it 3 times a day, so you get pleasure.
It's just. Do you wash your feet when you're in the shower?
Yes.
It's kind of a side note, right?
Oh, I see.
I'm not out on a street corner preaching to people to try to get them to eat more eggs. Eggs are delicious. I love eggs and bacon for breakfast. But I don't go out on the street corner and preach that to people like, hey, you guys, these are good.
Yeah.
You know?
I used to be the same, and I know there was a time where I'd have probably agreed with everything you just said to me, but then it's like you said earlier, we have a conversation, maybe in the future something you'll be like, oh, I spoke to that guy in the street, his name is Ed, and you know what, I didn't agree with him then, but maybe something he said now sparked an interest in me. It might not, right? But the point is, that's why I have conversations with people, because I was the same as you, and I literally would have been stood next to you agreeing with everything you said 4 years ago, but I changed because someone said something to me once. So look, let's leave it on this note.
Where did you come from as far as your religious background?
I've never, well, I used to go to Sunday school. I've never been religious ever.
Your parents weren't? You were raised in that?
My grandma's Christian, but my parents never were. Yeah. So I've never been religious. And I used to eat meat. I used to think it was delicious. I'd have been the one telling people to go eat bacon. I'd have driven past this and said, go eat meat. You know, that would have been me, but...
Why did you stop eating meat? Tell me the truth. Did you date a girl that was vegan?
No. Actually, no. I was dating a girl, but we went vegan together. The reason I stopped eating meat, I went veggie because basically there was a truck. I came with a story. It was like a truck carrying 7,000 chickens crashed on the way to the slaughterhouse. And it was in the BBC News, and I remember reading it, and I was thinking, like, this is horrible. But what disturbed me was the fact that some of these birds had like broken wings and broken bones, and they were alive but suffering. And I acknowledged that the animals I ate had the capacity to suffer. And I realized the only reason they were in the truck going to the slaughterhouse is because I ate KFC and chicken flesh. And I felt like a hypocrite for saying I felt sorry for these animals suffering when I was literally consuming them and I was paying for that suffering. So I went veggie, then I watched a documentary called Earthlings, learned about the dairy and egg industry, and went vegan off the back of that. So it was a process. It took a lot of education, a lot of learning, and it took me to kind of reevaluate my beliefs. And like I say, like I'd have joined you and been shouting at the hypothetical me a few years ago, you know.
Do you think that all animals have the same experience of pain?
No, I don't think we all have the same experience of pain.
I think a dog experiences pain the same way the chicken does. I think the chicken's experience of pain is probably far, far less. And I think like a snake or a lizard would be like way, way down the line.
I mean, it's impossible to know, right?
Way the hell up there.
I wouldn't say our experience of pain is that, because pain is, in terms of the nerves and the sensory, sensory side of it is pretty much unanimous, but I agree on the different scales of pain, psychological, and that side of stuff, yeah. But I feel like, pinching or kicking a dog would probably create the same level of pain, although there are different scales of pain threshold. Like, we'll all here have different pain thresholds, and some people can manage like broken fingers, some people can't,
I think they're aware, less than we are. I would challenge you later to go look into the ability of animals to be aware of the future. I think humans are unique in that. I don't think animals have an awareness. You made the argument of the bear. The bear has a median. The cattle prods are right there.
But they have to make a connection to something that's happened in the past, right? To think that this could happen now. So if it was only ever present, then the cattle prod wouldn't have any danger to them until they were prodded with it, because it would just be an unusual object they'd never seen before, right?
True, and I think that's a mechanical function, like a nervous system change.
But that must be a psychological thing, right?
This is a question we're not going to come to terms right here. This is going to take like examination of like text and stuff. But I would challenge you to look in that, because I've looked into it. I don't think that animals have a awareness of future. You can scare the bear while you have the cattle prod in there to doing a certain behavior, but the next day when that cattle prod's around, there's a good likelihood that the bear will do what he wants when that's not immediate.
But over time, that psychological will have an impact.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, I'd say so. I challenge. Okay, just 1 second, sir. All right. So I'll accept your challenge. Will you accept my challenge to maybe look at the opposite and look yourself and see if maybe they do have an experience of pain that maybe not be the same as, but is worth warranting or worth taking acknowledgement of? Can we agree to look at each other's side of the story?
I think I've in the conversation I have looked at that. I would look into it.
And I
more.
believe that I would like to have done that for you as well.
But I think that if you found that animals don't have an awareness of the future, it would change your worldview a little bit. If I found that animals did have an awareness of the future, it wouldn't really change my worldview very much, because it doesn't affect my worldview.
I don't think it would change my worldview, because it's not about their awareness of the future that I really care about. It's just the fact that they have an experience of life that they wish to live, and I don't have the right as an individual to take that life from them. I asked myself, believe me, I wanted to continue eating these things. Like, I loved them dearly, like bacon, eggs, sausages, everything. I loved it. So I struggled, and I asked myself, what right do I have? And it was a battle with myself, because I couldn't find any justification or right within myself to continue doing it. If I could have done, I would have done, because I desperately wanted to, but I just didn't.
As I said earlier, wouldn't it be more productive of your time to create ways to meet people's desire for meat without this kind of thing, rather than to
for me personally,
morality?
Yeah, I think you raise a good point, and I think the world will change because there's those accessibility of options there. I feel like for me, I have to encourage people to do that, and I have to encourage people to want to buy like the Beyond Meat burger over the cow meat burger, because most people just buy what they've always bought. There needs to be something in them that says, you know what, I'm going to buy this, and that could be them seeing a health study and saying, oh look, this is bad for my health. I agree that the biggest amount of change that will come is when the people can get those accessible, affordable options, and they have a desire and a will to buy them instead. And so we agree on that. We'll end on an agreement. Yeah. Thank you for the chat. I appreciate it.